What if I told you you could buy the perfect death, the perfect birth, the perfect food, and the perfect relationship? What if I told you you'd never have to compromise again? Until now, human life has always meant being born from our mother's body, living off the flesh of dead animals, and seeking out sexual relationships until it ends with unpredictable, uncontrollable death. Now, entrepreneurs across the globe are developing technologies they say will give us total control over what makes us human. They say we can have fulfilling sexual relationships without making any compromise, eat meat without killing animals, have babies without anyone being pregnant, and choose the time and place of our painless death. They say their products will give us power over unknowns and set us free. I spent 5 years visiting the factories, workrooms, and laboratories where the future of birth, food, sex, and death is being engineered. Today, I'm going to introduce you to 4 technologies that are about to change what it means to be human forever. And I'm going to talk about the unintended consequences of relying on tech to solve fundamental human problems. Is progress about the innovations we clever humans dream up that help us change our world? Or is it about being willing to change ourselves? Allow me to introduce you to Harmony. Maybe you know her already. Maybe she's the girl of your dreams. I met her in a California factory where a certain kind of dreams is made. This is Abyss Creations, the home of Real Doll. For thousands of dollars, you can get your perfect partner engineered to your every specification here. There are 42 different types of nipple to choose between, 14 different styles of labia. You can have every freckle on your partner's body placed exactly where you choose. There are male dolls too. This one is sculpted to have exactly the same face as the CEO of the company, but these are mainly bought by gay men. Women tend to buy vibrators or other disembodied sex toys, not dolls. Harmony is a doll who could move and speak and remember. She can crack jokes and quote Shakespeare. She has animatronics and artificial intelligence. She is a sex robot. She wants whatever you want, likes whatever you like, and will never say no. She only exists to please. The man who developed her told me that he is providing companionship to people who would otherwise have no chance of a relationship. This is about more than sex. You can't give a blow-up doll or a vibrator a personality. Harmony is a substitute partner. She's one of dozens of prototypes being developed around the world by entrepreneurs who say that robots are the future of relationships. They might well be right post-COVID. What could be more socially distanced than sex with a robot? When it becomes possible to have a partner who exists only to please you, a partner who always laughs at your jokes and has no menstrual cycles, in-laws, or independent ambitions, will messy human relationships begin to feel like hard work? Synthetic companions have the potential to erode our capacity for empathy. You don't need to think about what your partner's feeling when they have no feelings. Of course, we could just accept that human relationships are never perfect. We could make an effort to draw in the lonely so they're not isolated at home with circuitry. We could solve the problems that sex robots are supposed to solve without the robots, but we're being sold a solution so we don't have to. He's a chicken. I ate Ian while he was still alive and flapping his wings. I bit into a priceless chicken nugget made out of Ian in a San Francisco startup now called Eat Just. They took a biopsy of Ian, bathed it in a nutrient bath, and cultured it in a bioreactor. Eat Just made history in December 2020 when they became the first to get regulatory approval for their lab-grown chicken nuggets. They're one of hundreds of companies around the world now making meat in this way. They say lab-grown meat is a solution to the environmental catastrophe caused by intensive animal agriculture. And they've got a powerful argument to make. No more carbon-producing cattle feedlots. No more wasted antibiotics, water and land. No more pollution from sewage. No more dead animals. Just sterile cells in bioreactors. Sounds like the perfect solution. But in a world where we still eat meat but no longer kill animals, we will be even further removed from where our food comes from, dependent on companies with specialised, expensive technology. Where we could once raise our own chickens, we will now be reliant on remote corporations for our food. Perhaps we are already, but we can choose not to be. When eating meat is fine, but killing animals is taboo, we won't have that choice. And that has big implications for our food security. Instead of going to all the trouble and expense of growing meat in a lab, meat that will still make us fat and ill if we eat too much of it, we could just eat it less often. We could spend proper money on it so the animals are free to roam. But the business model behind this technology assumes that we're all selfish and greedy and incapable of doing things differently. I think we're better than that. The pandemic has shown just how much we can adapt when we believe we really have to. But lab-grown meat is a solution that tells us we don't have to change. Here is a lamb that has not yet been born. It's a fetus at 111 days of gestation, completely independent of its mother. It's growing in man-made amniotic fluid inside a Ziploc bag in the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Here it is again, 14 days later, fatter, fluffier, ready to be born. Soon the plastic bag will be opened, the umbilical cord will be clamped, and the lamb will emerge no different from one that grew inside the body of a ewe. The lamb was part of an experiment. Paediatricians demonstrated they could save the lives of super premature fetuses by allowing the process of gestation to continue inside an artificial womb. It's an incredible technology with enormous potential, and not just for premature babies. It brings us one step closer to reproduction outside the human body. There's a growing range of people who would like babies without pregnancy. Women born without wombs, trans women, gay men, single men, older women, women who just don't want to go through pregnancy and birth. Pregnancy-free birth would lead to total reproductive equality between the sexes. Each parent would simply provide the necessary sperm and egg and then get on with their lives and their jobs while the baby gestated. It might sound tempting, but women may lose more than they gain when they're no longer carrying the baby. Will we still have the right to choose when gestation doesn't have to happen inside our bodies? We already remove newborns from mothers who live chaotic lives. The threat of transfer into an artificial womb could be used to coerce and control pregnant women judged to be behaving irresponsibly. In saving the most vulnerable babies on Earth, this is a technology that has such potential to do good, but we need to make sure it's used for biological rather than social reasons. We can address the social reasons for wanting to use an artificial womb by making it easier for women to be pregnant and give birth without sacrificing their health and their careers. But social change requires more mental effort than an off-the-peg solution. This is Sarco. It's a death machine, the sarcophagus that will kill you. Ever since the days of Jack Kevorkian in the 1990s, medical outliers have tried to engineer a perfect, painless death that means that doctors don't have to be held responsible for assisting their patients. Sarco is the latest model in this lineage. You download the plans, print it out on a 3D printer, climb it in, and die. It's biodegradable. It doubles up as your coffin. Finally, death without pain, fear, and uncertainty. But it's also death without medical oversight, a death that people who are drunk or depressed or who might one day want to live could probably get hold of quite easily. Even if it was possible to ensure that only people of sound mind got hold of death tech, I would say that it is a symptom of a problem rather than its solution. 100 years ago, most deaths occurred in the home. Now we live with barely any experience of death. Aging and dying frighten us. This technology gives us a sense of control over the great unknown. The people who want to buy it want dignity and reassurance, not necessarily death itself. We wouldn't need these machines if we gave everyone the right to die, invested in research into degenerative conditions and palliative care, and got better at talking about death, so it no longer seems so terrifying. But that would require more courage than designing a death machine. The innovations I've talked to you about today are being developed by people who know there is money to be made in offering us an easy fix. They're not solutions to the problems posed by birth, food, sex, and death. They are circumventions. Instead of liberating us, they help us adapt to conditions that are trapping us in the first place. They're giving us reasons not to know ourselves better. And we don't need them. We could solve the same problems by changing our attitudes and behaviour. Across the world, we're doing that already. Every year, more people are being given the right to die in a safe and dignified way. Mothers are being given better maternity care and protections for their jobs. More of us are actively choosing to eat less meat. And most men want a partner who is respected and equal to them and has their own independent life. I believe that progress comes from being willing to change ourselves rather than relying on tech to do the work for us. It's the courage to choose a different mindset. That has to come alongside technological innovation or before it. We know what we need to do to move forward. We're doing it already, but it will take more courage than simply flicking a switch.